Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2, Semester 2. Welcome to week 19, Wednesday. This is your warm-up vlog, so pause the video and answer the following questions. All right, so your warm-up vlog is going to be due this Friday. So my suggestion is look at the number of boxes that you have missing. How many blank boxes do you have on your warm-up? Which week is it, which day it is, it's already numbered, and then go to the YouTube channel, pause the video, and then make sure it's filled out. You should have 100 of those boxes completed, and it's gonna be 300 points. So for the breakdown of this on Friday, this is what it's essentially gonna look like. Warm-up, participation, and then preparation. So 300 points is gonna be due this Friday. Just keep that in mind. All right, so we're kind of to the end of the semester, you guys. So as I'm looking at this right here, today is Wednesday, which is the 25th. Friday is the 27th, so that's when your warm-up vlog is due. Monday is the 30th. There's no school that day. I will see you guys next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Thursday of next week is the last day for you to turn any math Excel, any missing assignments, any of the hard copies activities we've done in class. And then I don't see you guys on Friday because that's the first day of the final. So that's periods 1 and 2. But I will see you guys bright and early on Monday, June 6th at 7:45 in the morning for your common district final. Your common district final is the same test that 13 other high schools will be taking. If you have a friend who's taking Algebra 2 at Spanish Springs High School, you and your buddy are taking the same test that day. It is a high secure test, and when you walk into this class, your backpack needs to be along the wall. There's no headphones, no electronics, no cell phones, and no smartwatches. And your desk will be in rows and columns. And the only thing you should have on your desk is going to be a Scantron, a test book, a number 2 pencil, and a TI-84 calculator. Those are the only 4 things you are allowed to have on your desk. The test is for 2 hours. It is kind of a long test. I know 2 hours is a very long time, but I will have a projected timer on there so that way you can see exactly how many minutes you have left. When you're done with the test, you don't get to go home, unfortunately, if you're done early, okay? You have to wait till everybody is done. So you have to be here for the entire 2 hours. I'm sorry, it's not my policy. It is the school district's policy. So everybody have to do that. And hopefully the computer just graded, and then I'll insert it on Infinite Canvas, and I'll tell you exactly what your overall grade is before you guys leave that day. So that's kind of my goal. If I don't get that done, it will be done within the hour after you guys leave, okay? So all this week and last week, we've been talking about the instructional material. That is the practice final. So the questions on that material is very similar to the actual test questions on the final. And so that's where it's important for us to kind of go over it and study for it. Your YouTube channel has been updated with the video from yesterday. It's thinking. So there are 88 videos, and based on this, 3 people have viewed the material from yesterday. So yesterday is week 19, Tuesday, and we went over questions number 25 to 31. So today we're going to go on to 32 and then hopefully to maybe 40. I don't know. I think 10 questions is a little bit hard to do because these questions are kind of hard. So up to this point, you guys, starting on week 18, Thursday, you can see study material 1 to 8, 7 to 14, 15 to 24, 25 to 31. So if you haven't been missing any of the classes, make sure you're watching the videos to get caught up with it because that's really important. Okay, and your checklist, warm-up log, Math Excel on the Wednesday assessment. Look for any of the missings that you have, your study guide, and then also the weeks you need to improve, okay? So last class, we went over number 25 all the way to 31. So that's what you missed from yesterday. Today, we're going to continue. This is our day 5 of the study guide. And you need a TI-84 and a highlighter. So if you did not grab those material, make sure you guys grab that. I will also be updating your grade today. So before you leave, hopefully I will tell you what your up-to-date grade is from last week of week 18. And again, if you have anything that you did on Math Excel, make sure you let me know because I'm not just like checking sporadically, thinking like, maybe somebody did a Math Excel assignment today. So I don't do that. So if you did it, just let me know that you completed it so that way I can go ahead and update your grades. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with, actually, you know what, I'm gonna have you guys do the end of the year survey first. So this is your QR code. So with your cell phones, if you can go ahead and get to that link. Yesterday I had you guys do this, but I don't think it was kind of towards the end, so I don't think everybody finished it, but that's okay. If you don't have QR capability, you can type in the link as well. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So I will just grab a iPad because it has that feature on there. And it basically just is week 19 Tuesday because it was done yesterday. And it asks you for your name. Do you know the current grading class? What do you need assistance with to access your Infinite Campus? You guys are still going to be high school students next year. So if you don't have access to IC now, you probably won't have access to IC next year. So if you need assistance, let me know so I can reset your password with a person up in the main office, and that way you have access to all of your grades next year as well. What is your desired grade after the final? Is there anything that I can help you guys with right now? Because it's not too late, you guys. You still have until next Thursday to raise your grade. After next Thursday, then it's too late because then it's finals week and I don't care about updating grades anymore. What are your list of priorities for this class before the final? The last day to turn anything in is next Thursday. And then do you have anything to turn in? And my very last question is, do you have any concerns? And what are your plans over the summer? Maybe some of you guys might be doing summer school, which case it is in Sparks Middle School. I have a flyer on Teams that tells you what you have to do to register for your classes. Edgenuity is a great way over summer to get rid of your PE credits. Believe it or not, you could do PE on Edgenuity. It doesn't require you running the mile or changing into your gym clothing. So PE, health, computers, those three classes are probably pretty easy on Edgenuity. So if you want to get a little bit ahead, so you don't take as many classes in your senior year, it's a great way to get started on Edgenuity over summer. And you can even work at home. That's one of the positive things about it. When you guys are done with that, you're welcome to go ahead and submit it. All right, so today is week 19, Wednesday. We're going to start off with number 32. I don't know if we're going to finish number 40, but that's like, you know, we'll try to aim for it and we'll see at what point do we all get tired. And I usually read the room, like when your eyes are like drooping and you're about to fall asleep. Then I'm like, okay, I think we've done enough. And then this is a good time to stop. But this is kind of like the breakdown. I'm hoping to finish by 60 by this Friday, and then next Monday is Memorial Day weekend, and then 61 to 67 by next Tuesday, although I don't think we will, but that's why I have Wednesday and Thursday, these last 2 days as like a buffer, but we will finish all the questions on the instructional material, so that way you guys have this done. So tomorrow I'm not going to be here, but I will go ahead and video record number 41 to 50 on Teams. And if you guys take a look at Teams right here, I'm just gonna go and have you guys have an assignment right here. So we'll go over here, Algebra 2. Let's go ahead and go to assignment. And then I'm just gonna create the assignment. I have a medical appointment tomorrow, so that's why I'm not gonna be here. But week 19, Thursday, Algebra 2, semester 2, just watch the video on your practice final, starting at number 41. Well, actually, I can't even type that in. That's okay. And 10 points for your efforts tomorrow, and it's due by 11:59. And I'm just gonna hit assign. Once I have the video recorded, I will make sure it is on here, but right now there's no link. So, but it will be on there before I leave today. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on number 32. So does anybody need a copy of this? Anyone need a copy? Marley, you have a copy. Everybody else, copy, come on up. So you can find all the ones before 32 on the video starting on week 18, okay? Does anybody else need a copy of this? Copy? All right, let's start off with number 32, you guys. So this is the question that you guys have. And as I'm looking at this right here, I noticed that this one, has a 4 and a 7. So I can actually take out a 4, which is a 2. I could take out 3 of the 7s, because remember, this is going to give you a 2 squared times x squared, because you need 2 of the x's to take it out, but there are 3 of them. And then also an x. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus the 1 gives me a 7. So I could take that out. And then what's left behind in here is just an x. That's just from the first square root. Then you take a look at the second square root. And do you see how there's an x to the third? Well, you have 9x squared on the outside. You could take another x out, which will make that into a 3. And then you have 1x left inside. And then if you take a look at the last one right here, you have x to the 5th. You need 2 of them to take it out. So I could put a 2 there. 2 times 2 is a 4. And there's 1 extra x. So on the outside, you have minus 5. You have x with the x squared, which is a 3, because 1 plus 2 is a 3. And then you have an x left in there. So the last thing you should realize is, do you see how there's x's on all of them inside the square root? So what that means is you can go ahead and combine everything that's on the outside. So 2x squared plus 9x squared minus 5x squared. And you're going to get 2 plus 9, which is 11. 11 minus 5, which is the 6x cubed square root x. And the only one that matches that description is A as in apple. Okay, let's go on to number 33. For number 33, notice that this is a multiplication, so that does change a little bit. You want to move it from radical to exponential. So for the first one, it's x 7 over 5. Remember, it's always power divided by the root times, we're going to do the same thing with the second one, which is cube root. So that would just be x, power is 1, root is 3. When you have two bases like x and x, what you're going to do with the exponent is you don't multiply, you add them. Okay, so then what is 7 over 5 plus 1 over 3? Going back to elementary school, what you're going to end up with is you need to have your common denominator, which is going to be a 15. 5 times 3 gives you a 15, so you multiply that top and bottom. And then 3 times 5 is 15, so you multiply that top and bottom. Make sure you guys are copying this per down, okay? So then 7 times 3 is 21 over 15. 5 over 15, 26 over 15. So your answer is x, 26 over 15, and the only one that matches this description is D as in dog, and that is your answer. If you're like, why am I adding instead of multiplying? Remember, if it's a squared times a to the third, because there's two bases, you do a to the fifth. Now, if you have a squared times with a parenthesis to the third, and there's just one base, there's just one a, then it's to the sixth, then you multiply. That's the difference. And that's the number one thing a lot of students kind of forget when it comes to exponential rules. All right, take a look at number 35, you guys, or number 34. Go ahead and read the question, highlight the important information. Okay, so which of the following statement is true for this function? Select all that it applies. I will probably suggest, this is when it says select all that applies, you guys. This is a MS question, which is multiple select, which means there is 2 or more correct answers. So you have to not just get one answer correct, you have to get more than one. Okay, if you only have one answer correct and you miss the other one, then it will be wrong. So for this one, grab your TI-84 calculator, because we're gonna have to graph this. So for those of you guys on Zoom, here's your calculator. This is what it's gonna look like. All right, so we're gonna hit y equals, and we're gonna go ahead and graph this. So you put a negative. Negative is not the same thing as a minus. It's that button on the bottom. So square root, and then x plus 5. On your test, I can't help you with the test at all. So you need to make sure you know how to do this. You see this blue line that's right there? I can see that there's a lot of numbers for the y max value, which I don't really need. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put like maybe a 5 because my graph doesn't even go above the x-axis, it looks like. It's just in the bottom. Do you see that? So since that's your question right there, or that's your graph right there, I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of this, and that way I can write on it. Okay, so we'll go back to our PowerPoint. Okay, so this is what you have. Now, if you look at this, do you see how it starts right there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Starts at -5. So if you're looking for the domain, your domain is going from -5 all the way to positive infinity. Okay, now let's talk about your range. Your range is going up and down. How far up does it go? How far down does it go? Well, it doesn't go further than 0. So 0, but it does go all the way down to negative infinity. So negative infinity to 0 is your range. So immediately when I say J, all real number, that's not correct for the domain. So it's not J. Then for domain, for K, it says X is greater or equal to -5. That is true. That's the same thing as saying from -5 to infinity. So K is definitely one of your answers. L is range is all real number. That's not true because we said your range is from 0 to all the negative numbers. So for M, where it says Y is less than or equal to 0, that will be true. So far you have K and M. Okay, so those are 2 correct answers. But then let's go ahead and see if any of the other ones are correct as well. F of X is increasing. F of X is saying Y is increasing. Well, I don't know. It looks like it's decreasing because it's going down like this. So that's not I. H will be the correct answer. So I'm going to include H as my answer as well. Then let's take a look at G. It says as X is going to positive, Y is going to negative. So as X is going to the positive, is Y going to the negative? Yes, it is. So G will be another answer that I will use as well, which means that F is not correct. So the answer that you need for this is G, H, K, M. And you would have to circle all 4 of these in order for that to be correct. So if you just picked one, that would be wrong. So if it says multiple select, just expect there is more than one correct answer. And then of course, if you take a look at the answers right here, you guys, you see how the answer right here for 34 is GHKM. Yeah, they would expect you to do all 4 of those, okay? So if you see anything that says multiple select, more than one right answer, even if you're guessing, make sure you guess more than one correct answer. Number 35, which one represents that? Well, we already determined that the shape of this square root is always like this, right? Like that little curve. That -3 means it's 3 to the right. So which one shows you 3 to the right? I don't know about you, but C looks like it's a good answer. And if you're not sure, you can always graph it on your graphing calculator. And in which case, here's my graphing calculator. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it back on. Y equals, you can clear that and just do square root x minus 3 graph. And then you just simply match it to what you graphed. Okay, number 36. Go ahead and read that one. Okay, so translating the graph, this one is a cube. So let me give you guys all the shapes. If you have an x squared, it is a parabola. So you might want to write that down. If it is a square root of x, it's going to look something like that. Okay. If it's going to be an absolute value, it is a V shape. Okay. And then lastly, if it is a cube root, this is the one where it looks really weird. It looks like this weird S shape like that. Okay. So it's saying, what would that look like if it goes up 5 to the left and up 2? Well, just to make sure that my thing looks correct, you can also use a graphing calculator. So with your graphing calculator, y equals, let's do cube root first. So you can go do math, go down to number 4, where the cube root button is, hit an X, graph. So that is what your graph will look like, that weird little squiggly S shape, okay? Then from that weird little squiggly S shape, you can go, okay, well, if it's gonna go 2 up, so 1, 2, 5 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's gonna be right there on my graph. It's gonna have this weird little S shape, or actually that looks really bad, hold on a second. Like this. So which one looks like that? All the other shapes looks very weird. Like it's not B, it's not D, it's not C. A is the only one that it matches. And if you look at A, there's a -5. So that seems like a good one. And even if you don't know the shapes of it because you didn't memorize it, graph it on your graphing calculator. It's pretty easy, right? Just match it together from the graphing calculator. Number 37. If you guys know how to do this, I would suggest just give it a try on your own. All right, your grades are updated from week 18. I'll post it on IC in a minute. All right, so my goal here is to solve for X. So there are several things I want to do. First one I want to get rid of is that 10 on the outside. Notice how it's on the outside, so that's the first one I get rid of. So then I have a 22 equals, that part cancels, square root of 5x plus 9. How do you get rid of a square root? It's not with a circle, it is with a square. So I'm going to square both sides. And when you do that, your square root and your square cancels. You have 5x plus 9, no more with a square root, and then 22 squared. 22 squared is 22 times 22. So if you're like, what is that going to equal to? That's going to give you 484. So 484. And then at this point, you guys, you can just use your calculator to solve for this. Okay, so you're going to take 484, which is the answer right there, minus 9 divided by 5. Your answer is 95. So that is going to give you an A as in apple. So how easy is it to do the final with your calculator? It's pretty simple for the most part because it actually does everything for you. As long as you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, well then, you know, that's really unfortunate. Answer it A as an apple. Okay, let's go on to number 38. Believe it or not, your calculator could probably do most of the work here for you as well. Okay, so the one thing I see for number 38 is I see this really crappy 2/3 right there. That's really messing me up. So you're like, how do I get rid of that 2/3, okay, as a power? Well, what you can do is you can multiply the whole thing by a power of 3/2. So the 64 gets a power of 3/2. You're not multiplying by the number 3/2. It's a power, okay? So it's an exponent with a little caret, okay? So if I do that, notice how the 2/3 times the 3/2, it just gives you a 1. So that's canceled, and everything in here is now free. On the right side, you got to figure out what is 64 to the 3/2 power, and this is where your calculator comes in because you don't want to do this by hand. You just type in 64. You see that little caret right there? Push on that little button for exponent. 3 divided by 2. Boom, enter. You get 512. Do you guys see that? Equals 512. I noticed that this right here has an x squared and an x, which means you'll probably have a factor. So if I were to subtract the 512 on both sides, I will end up with x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 0. So then you're the factor with 2 parentheses. You got to ask yourself, what times what gives me a positive 4, but when I add it together, it gives me a positive 4 as well. Well, since everything's a positive number in the question, your answer is going to be all positive as well. So then when I solve for this, what's opposite of x plus 2 equals 0? X equals -2. That's your answer, and the only one that works is B as in boy. Okay, number 39. Go ahead and take a moment and read that question. Oops. All right, for number 39, it says the height in centimeter of a baby boy from birth to age 24 months or 2 years of age can be modeled by that function, where T is going to be the age of the baby in months, because they grow so quickly that each month actually really does make a significant difference in their growth. And my pen stopped working, but when I'm, okay, hold on, this one works, okay? I would just highlight this equation that tells you the height of the baby, and the T is how old the baby is in months, between 0 to 24 months. How old is the baby? That is 72 centimeters tall. So what they're giving you right here is the age. That's the height. So then when I rewrite that, it's 72 equals 7.7 square root of T plus 50. Your job is to figure out what is T, which is how old is that baby in months when he's 72 centimeters. You can actually do this entire question just on your TI-84 calculator. So I'm going to show you guys how, okay? You don't have to show any work on the test really, because nobody's going to be looking at your work. They just want to see if you actually have the right answer or not. The computer's going to grade it. So 72 is on the right side, so you're going to hit 72 on your calculator. First thing you want to do is you want to get rid of that 50 because it's a tagging along. So 72 minus 50. Enter. Then you want to get rid of that 7.7, but it's multiplied to the T. So opposite of a times is a divide. So you're going to divide it by 7.7 on both sides. That's your answer right now. Then do you see how there's a square root to the T? How do you get rid of that square root? It's with a square. So you're going to hit the square button. And that's your answer. How old is the baby? The baby is 8.16 months old. If you round it up, the only answer that works is D as in dog, which is 8.2 months. But do you see how you're able to do the entire question just using your calculator if you know where the buttons are? So I would highly recommend that you guys get acquainted with using a calculator because it will be your best friend on the test. Or don't, but then you're gonna have to take this class over again. So I'm just saying, you still have time to like raise your grade. All right, number 40. Oh, I hate this question. Select all that applies. So you guys know what this is. This is the one where you have more than one right answer. So you have to work like 3 times as hard to find the right answer. All right, but we can do this. Your job is to find f of x minus g of x and f of x plus g of x. So you have 2 questions they're doing to us. First one is you have to subtract it. The other one, you have to add it. I'm like, yeah, 2 questions in 1 question. So let's first start off with the green part right there. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and subtract it. If I were to subtract this, it's gonna be a minus right here, a plus right there, and a minus right there. Because if you're subtracting it, you have to change the signs, right? So 5 minus 3 is 2x squared, 6 plus 5 is 11x, negative 4 minus 24 is negative 28. So immediately as I'm looking at that, what does that match? H. So far, H is one of your answers. Then you have to add them. So if I have to add them, it's 5 plus 3, not minus. So that's going to be an 8x squared. 6 minus 5, which is a 1x. Negative 4 plus 24, which is a 20. Which one does that match? I think K. So the only 2 answers you should have is H and K, but you have to have both of them. And just to make sure that we did this correctly, we're going to go over to the very end for number 40. And sure enough, there it is, H and K for number 40 on your answer sheet. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you guys today. We're actually on schedule, which is great because we're now up to 40. And then next time I see you guys, we'll start on number 41. So for your exit ticket, because we have about 10 more minutes left. I have a video that I want to show you guys. This is a senior that graduated from Florida, and he made a speech, his graduation speech, and it went viral, and it's for this year of 2022. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. And your question for today for the reflection is on this QR code. So let me bring that up first. Because it disappeared. Here we go. Got that. Move it over here. This is number 40. Yeah. Okay. So right now, take your cell phone, go onto this QR code. For those of you guys who are on Zoom, go ahead and go to the QR code and answer the following 4 questions. Unfortunately, you guys won't be able to watch the video, but that's okay. But you guys can still get this done. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.